Hello and welcome. So today we're not going to be doing much building of the patch, but instead we're going to be trying out the patch. Since the last video I did make some updates, some basic sort of cleanup stuff where I got rid of old sort of sketchpad subpatchers that we didn't need anymore, made it so the Markov rhythms are automatically trained when you're done detecting onsets, and then also some mixing there with these sliders. So I can have the amplification separate from what comes from the improviser, and live processing, which I've yet to implement but will be a thing. So before we go ahead and improvise and record a corpus to then play with, what I've done is just a very basic kind of automation of behaviors. So I won't go over that in detail, but basically when I turn it on, it will trigger, depending on BPM confidence, either rhythmic or non-rhythmic behaviors, between 1 and 3 of them at the same time. And if it doesn't detect any onsets for 3 seconds, it'll have a 50-50 chance of then switching behaviors. Otherwise, I think it just counts to 100 onsets and then will change behaviors after that. So it's not a very necessarily musical or reactive way of moving through behaviors, but I just wanted to get some options, or rather some variation going for me to react to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just do 2 or 3 minutes of improvisation to build the corpus. This is my converted fretless guitar that I'll be playing with here. Oops. Okay, so that'll be our corpus. Let's detect slices on that. There. Alright, so that seems fine. So that's 165 slices, okay. So now I'm going to hit this button, it'll do all the analyses. So this is something in the final version. This will be something you want to sort of pre-do. So it doesn't take so much time, although that wasn't so bad. I don't know, that's not the super long, not a super long corpus. Okay. So I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to hit on off. When it gets its first onset after I hit that button, it should start. that's pretty cool. I think it's more active than maybe it should always be. That could just be the sort of the ones that happen to choose. But again, I'm just sort of putting ones randomly on. And my sense is also that maybe these first behaviors we built are maybe not the most interesting, just sort of like a basic metro. I just found that they, in the brief time there, I wasn't sort of feeling that. A couple of the behaviors also seem like pretty fleshed out as something that is just the one thing on at once. So like this one. The chroma harmony one I'm interested in trying out. The continuous matching, let's do that with MFCC. Let's try that with the pitch. Let's try one of the Markov ones, maybe, let's see, Melbands? I might have a typo in that one. Let's try a different one. Spectral. Not sure. Okay, there must be something going on with these ones. Alright, those are pretty cool. The doubling, well, the doubling's always going to just sort of work, but it's end up being more of an effect than anything. So if we do it with chroma. That's cool. Envelope following, let's try that with chroma grains. Cool. All right, let's try some of the rhythmic ones. Let's try Euclidean rhythm with pitch slices. Cool. So we got different grooves with each of those, and I made it so that the groove is somewhat randomized whenever you turn one on. That's pretty wonky. That's sort of where the improviser's at the moment. I could see some interesting uses for these already. I think there's a lot of refining that can be done. I think there are a bunch more behaviors that can be made. Right now, I'm really preferring the more kind of fleshed out behaviors like this one, where the amount of, it's multiple stages. You have the doubling at the attack, which also takes into account how clear the pitch is, and then upon sustain you have these continuous grains. So it's sort of like a full musical behavior in one that even combines two of the other ones. I'm enjoying the sort of more continuous ones, and I think of the Markov behaviors, I think this one is working the best. The rhythmic behaviors, I think, definitely need some refining. I think I might actually just remove some of the very simple ones or add them in some way. I'm also finding that the dynamics are a little bit static. And I think we also need the option of just some truly weird ones where we have things like different playing around with playback speed. You can do that to get different sort of pitch combinations, as well as just kind of like detuned effects and things like that. And then also incorporating the gestures. So that's a little aside of where we're at with this improviser. Of course, with different types of corpuses, you're going to get very different results, and some of these may work in more interesting ways or less interesting ways. For instance, really drone-like music, I feel like this, you could already get really interesting textures emerging from that. I'd be curious also to test it with kind of purely percussive sounds. I think that could actually work really nicely with what we already have. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end it. With part 14, we should be getting back to building, perhaps even just incorporating some live processing as well as working on our user interface. Because right now it is just, unless you've been following along, it's probably just impossible to use. But we want to make it much more user-friendly than this. Okay, so thanks for listening, watching, and until next time.